What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Nocturnal Critic YouTube page, and today I'm going to be discussing my very first game review, and that's going to be on Ori and the Will of the Wisp. So if you guys are familiar with this game, you may have played the first title, which was Ori and the Blind Forest. It was a really good game. Visually, it looks great, and honestly, the sequel took everything the foundation of the first game laid out, and it built on that, which you would expect from any great game, any great sequel that's coming. That's what you want. You want more of that. And honestly, in my opinion, I felt like that's exactly what this game brought to the table. So just to give you guys a rundown on the sequel's plot, it's about a little rabbit spirit creature, which is Ori, and its owlet friend Ku, who becomes separated after flying into a terrible storm. Now Ori is faced once again with bringing order back to this broken land and reuniting back with Ku and their family. Moon Studios is back again with another masterpiece. This fucking game pretty much checks all the boxes in my opinion. It's a great follow-up to what was already considered to be a well-respected platformer by its fans.
You better have the same energy.
And that's exactly what it delivers and more. So I got a few grading points that I want to mention throughout this game review, which are the reasons why I wanted to cover this game and what makes it one of my favorites. And the first thing that I'm going to cover is going to be the mechanics. One thing about these games that are always consistent across the board are always the combat and traversal mechanics. Earning new combat or traversal skills almost always serves a multi-purpose to be interchangeable between fighting or movement. And when you obtain new skills, it's nearly a puzzle within itself to understand the new possibilities that are now presented to you. A lot of obstacles and puzzles I encountered was challenging, but every once in a while you come across some that really require imagination and strategic planning utilizing those skills. Plus, with the mechanics in regards to enemy variation, there's several enemy variations in this game for flying, ground, and water environments. And this also adds something that you're really not looking out for, which is the stationary obstacles, which are a big pain in the ass in this game sometimes. Well, I would say early on when you're first beginning to learn. And it's a little challenge for that extra little fuck you on the side to push you over the edge every once in a while. But honestly, personally, I enjoyed the challenge. And now I want to get into another major aspect of the game that I really enjoy, and it's the first thing that catches your eye when you see the game, which is the art style by Max Deegan and Johannes Figleber. I hope I didn't butcher their names too much, but I really wanted to kind of give a shout out and credit to those guys because the game looks so damn good. So I did a little research and found out that they were actually inspired by an animated movie from back in the day called Princess Mononoke, or Mononoke, which one of those I'm not sure, but I checked out the style just to see, the similarities between Ori and the Will of the Wisp and the Blind Forest and shit like that compared to this film, and you can definitely see the inspiration. Honestly, I don't really have a whole lot that I want to go in with this part as far as the art style, except the fact that it looks great. But I will say that the art style gives off a vivid watercolorish but slightly more defined type of style with a vast spectrum of colors. I mean, this might be one of, if not the most visually appealing game that I've played in years. And then there's the next thing that I want to get into, which is the level design. So side missions now accommodate the main story quest this time around in Ori's adventure. And it's a nice addition to the gameplay, and it doesn't feel forced. I mean, fetching specific tools and items for previous characters you've met, it's like they're switching things up enough without changing the formula. And outside of those new additions, the level design is what you would probably normally expect from a game like this, offering, secret locations, rotating and floating and draggable objects that you could use for traversal. And then there's an area specifically where there's fireflies that you can use as a light source for Ori to find his way through these caves, but also to protect Ori from being dragged off into the darkness.
You're dead, Willie.
It's pretty cool. So my next 2 points that I want to just go ahead and bundle up about the game is going to be the story and the music, mainly because I feel like the story and the music in video games complement each other a little bit more than other things like the environment and the mechanics and level design and things like that, which are also very big areas. But I think just the story and the music for psychological and emotional investments in a video game, those are like the two big storyteller things that really drag a person in. And the biggest highlight about the story is that we gain more insight this time around regarding Ori's origins. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it, because I don't want to get into spoilers about this because it's a pretty big deal. And then there's the music. So we have Gareth Coker returning once again with another powerful, hypnotizing type, releasing dopamine type musical score to leave invested fans with chills. I mean, this guy, if you heard the first musical score for the first Ori and the Blind Forest, it was an amazing soundtrack for the game, and they're back again with another one. And yes, there is a lot of praising in this review about Ori and the Will of the Wisp because it is a great game, but I will say that this game has its fair share of bugs here and there. I mean, I had points throughout the game where it was lagging, it was slowing down a little bit, it came up to a stop and there would be these long pauses between when the game would continue and whatnot. But I will say, even with those issues, that I know that these guys will update the game and they'll clean it up, because Ori and the Blind Forest got a lot of those updates. I'm not sure how long after, but I know those things did get resolved. So I'll say, in my opinion, it still lived up to the hype. So overall, honestly, if you had any doubts about checking out this game, hopefully this review may have, persuade you to give it a shot, especially with all the craziness that's going on in the world right now.
Please stay inside and lock all doors and windows. Miller Park is no longer considered a safe haven.
A lot of us are staying inside. So if you have, you got some free time on your hands and you enjoy platformers, I highly recommend Ori and the Will of the Wisp.